The technology found in the cars that we drive is moving at such a fast pace, it's difficult to keep up with at times, particularly with this shift towards electrification. Well, the good news is I'm here to help guide you through it. And once you understand the difference between the types of electrified cars at Nissan, it will make it so much easier for you to pick the right car for you and your lifestyle. Okay, I'm going to start off with the mild hybrid, available in Nissan's Qashqai and also the X-Trail. Now, it has a petrol engine and drives pretty much the same way as the Qashqai you might be used to driving. But the mild hybrid uses technology to harness energy, which is usually just wasted, and ensures that you don't use fuel when it's not essential. Let me show you how. When you're driving and you press the brakes, a generator will collect some of the energy, which is usually just wasted, and instead sends it to the battery. Now, this energy, which is stored, can then be used for powering the car's electrical systems rather than taking power from the engine. So when the car is stationary or driving down a hill, for example, the car can switch the engine off automatically, saving fuel.
As soon as you need to move off, the engine starts up again you might not even notice it, in fact.
The system can also use some of that saved power to give a little boost during acceleration so that the engine doesn't have to work quite as hard, and again, less fuel is used compared to a traditional petrol engine.
There's no direct connection between the electric motor and wheels, so you're always being driven by the combustion engine. But because the engine is running less of the time and it gets a helping hand from a battery, it's more fuel efficient compared to a traditional petrol engine.
And you get these benefits without having to change a single thing about the way you drive. This Nissan Juke is a full hybrid, also sometimes called a HEV. It uses both an electric motor and a petrol engine. It can switch between the two or use both at the same time, depending on what's best for performance and efficiency.
The hybrid system will automatically harness energy, which is usually wasted in braking, store it in the battery, and then feed it back to help improve performance and economy. Now, while the technology is ingenious, you don't actually have to change the way you drive at all. The car works out the best energy source automatically, reacting to the pressure I'm applying to the accelerator and checking the battery charge level to see when to use the electric motor. Sometimes, like now, it will just be electric, which means it's quiet and refined. You can also select a pure EV mode using this button, which works up to 34 miles per hour.
Now that means you can drive away earlier in the morning without waking the family, or glide past the school without leaving any exhaust fumes behind you. At motorway speeds, the car will know that it's much more energy efficient to use the petrol engine, so that will cut in automatically. But at other times, the electric motor might propel the car, while the petrol engine efficiently generates some power for the battery, ready for use later on. This car will default to electric mode on average around 80% of the time when driving in cities. So that means you're going to be really saving on fuel.
Figures show you'll be up to 19% more fuel efficient on this Techno Plus version compared to a traditional petrol engine with an automatic gearbox.
That means you'll be cutting your exhaust emissions too, which is good for us all. Nissan's latest innovation is a powertrain called e-Power. It's available in the Qashqai and also the all-new X-Trail.
E-Power uses the combination of a lithium-ion battery and a petrol engine as a generator to feed energy to an electric motor, which in turn drives the wheels.
Now, as the wheels are being driven by the electric motor 100% of the time, it actually makes the Qashqai feel like an electric car to drive with that instant and surprising responsiveness. I really enjoy it.
It's also a much quieter driving experience compared to the equivalent model with a mild hybrid engine. And you won't ever need to plug in to charge. The petrol engine recharges the battery on the go, and like electric cars, the e-Power system will also harness the energy, which is usually lost during braking, to recharge the battery.
It also features the e-pedal step to help make driving easier, as when you're using it, It allows one pedal driving in most situations. Now, what that means is when you want to accelerate, you push down the pedal as normal, but when you want to slow down, you take your foot off the accelerator and the car will gradually slow down to 6 miles per hour without you having to use the brake pedal.
As the petrol motor is tuned to operate at its most efficient point to provide power, the Qashqai e-Power is more economical. It's up to 20% more fuel efficient versus the equivalent model with a mild hybrid petrol engine. It might sound complex, but it's actually really quite simple. There are no gears, for example.
It's really simple to drive, and you won't even need to adjust your driving habits to charge. Clever, eh? And finally, this is an all-electric car, also known as an EV, and Nissan are real experts at producing electric cars, including this new Ariya and the well-known Nissan Leaf. Now, a pure electric car has no petrol or diesel engine. Instead, it has an electric motor and a large battery, which gets its electricity by charging from the grid.
You can either charge at home or from a public charging station and will never have to go to a petrol station again.
Now, if you're charging at home, you could wake up to a full battery every morning and, of course, take advantage of cheaper electricity tariffs overnight. Or if you're doing a longer journey and you need to do a quick, rapid charger, this will take 217 miles in just 30 minutes.
Combine this with a range of up to 329 miles and you can have the confidence to head further afield.
The car will also make the most of that range for you, so you get the maximum out of a full charge. For example, the Ariya's motor will actually switch to become a generator when you slow, so it harnesses the braking energy and puts it back into the battery. As there's no engine, you can hear that it is really quite quiet, it's quite refined, and there are no gears either, so it's nice and smooth and really quite easy to drive.
You also get all of the motor's torque as soon as you touch the accelerator, and that makes it feel really quite responsive.
But pure electric cars aren't just enjoyable to drive, they have other benefits too. Perhaps the most important has to be that there are zero tailpipe emissions while driving, so you're not impacting local air quality.
There are also financial savings. You won't pay anything for the road tax. There's no congestion charge, cheaper servicing rates due to less moving parts, and some really big tax benefits if you're a company car driver.
Nissan's expertise in electric and electrified cars means you can be confident in making the switch.